So I'm on Twitter a couple days ago and I come across this tweet from the former commissioner of the former police commissioner, I should say, of the NYPD, Bill Braden. And in this tweet, Braden says, cops are doing what they have always done regardless of politics or anti-police sentiment, risking it all, running towards danger. 2021 has seen a 10% increase in line of duty deaths versus 2020, which is the second highest on record. Now, you see what's going on here. Braden is clearly playing up this idea that there is this vast anti-police movement because of Black Lives Matter, the Black Lives Matter protests of last summer that happened in the wake of the police killing of George Floyd. And they've really been trying to play up this whole thing. You know, obviously people have been flying, people who support, right-wingers who support Trump have been flying their thin blue line flags. And you have this really demonization of any sort of movement to defund the police, which is basically a movement to not give the police this vast sum of money, extra sum of money, really, actually, every year, just so they could buy militarized equipment for the cities they're supposed to serve and protect. So this is really meant to gin that up. And when you read just this tweet, oh wow, cops are risking it all, running towards danger during this anti-police sentiment and all these politics that are working against police officers. And wow, 2021 has seen a 10% increase versus last year, which is the second highest on record in terms of on-duty deaths from police forces. Now, if you click that link in Braden's tweet, you will be taken to that 2021 mid-year law enforcement officer fatality report. And if you open up that report, you will find, let me pull up this chart in there. Well, came in really large. Let me make it a little bit smaller. Here it is. You will find this chart. And it says law enforcement fatalities by decade, 1960 through 2020. And this is just through mid-year. So this chart is for each one of these years. And it's just for January through June, the first 6 months, mid-year. And you'll look at this chart and you'll say to yourself, wow, look how high that chart goes, right? You see it starts in the 1960s where there's around 70 on-duty police officer deaths. And then you go through the 70s and 80s and 90s and 2000s. And you see it go up and down a little bit. But then all of a sudden, you come to 2020 and it just skyrockets. Got 140 law enforcement deaths in the first 6 months of 2020. On-duty deaths, I should say. And then here we are, this year, 155 fatalities. Now here's the thing. Pull that chart up. Like, lift it up a little bit. You'll see me doing it on the screen. Lift it up a little bit. I'm going to make this really big. What do you see there? What do you see right there? The breakdown of these on-duty fatalities from January to June. 155 total. You'll see some firearm related, some traffic related, a handful of ones listed as other. And then there it is. 71 of those 155 fatalities, 71 due to COVID-19. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, if you remove those COVID-19 deaths, 71 from 155, you actually have those total fatalities down to around 80 some odd, which puts it in line with every other year on this chart. And by the way, you should look at how weird this chart is. It skips 5 years. It goes 1960, then 1965, 1970, and then at the very end, 2015, 2020, and then 2021. So that also skews it tremendously. That 2021 is the 1 year not included in the 5 year jump between every other one. But that regardless, take away those COVID deaths, and you have a on-duty fatality number pretty much in line with every single year since the 60s, and actually lower than what it was for the 70s, 80s, and part of the 90s. So, I mean, and also you might be saying, but Matt, these police officers, they are on the front lines. They're going out there and they're putting their lives on the line to serve and protect during the pandemic. Well, I'll tell you this. There was a huge issue in New York, specifically. I'm going to stick with a New York take. I'm sure your cities have seen, wherever you live, have seen something similar. But I'm going to stick with New York here. This was a common sight in New York throughout the entire pandemic. Police officers in mass not wearing masks. This is from summer of last year, the heights of the pandemic. I see one officer in this photo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I think there's 24 cops in this photo. One is visibly, there's the one all the way in the back, two visibly wearing a mask. Now remember, they don't want to care about themselves. That's their own whatever. But they are working a public-facing job. Who knows what they spread by not wearing masks? And this was a common occurrence. Common. I mean, there's photo after photo. If you want, I'll even pull up some of these photos here from the protests. Here's another one I'll bring up from the protest last summer. Just, cops just not wearing masks. It's just stunning. Here we go. Another photo. How many cops in this photo? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cops in this photo, one wearing a mask. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, Matt, people are vaccinated now. They don't have to wear masks. Sure. People are vaccinated now. They don't have to wear masks. In New York, it's true. If you're fully vaccinated, the recommendations say you don't have to wear a mask. You don't got to wear a mask indoors unless the specific establishment requires it. You're free to not wear a mask in NYC anymore if you're going by the local ordinances. But here's the thing: if you're vaccinated. But here's the thing: again, emphasis on if you're vaccinated. This coming from NBC New York, the local NBC affiliate, Channel 4 News. The overall NYPD vaccination rate between police officers and professional support staff is about 43%, the department said in a statement Wednesday. New York's vaccination rate's in the 70s. I believe New York City specifically is a little bit lower, probably due to a number of reasons maybe. I don't know exactly, but I think it's like in the mid-60s. But still, that vaccination rate, much higher than the NYPD's vaccination rate. I'm also going to guess that addendum, that extra addition of professional support staff also adds to that vaccination rate. I'm going to assume that's actually why they're including it in the percentage, because I'm sure if you include just police officers and not, administration or whatever else is included in professional support staff, maybe medical, I'm sure if you don't include that number's much lower. So again, that Braden tweet trying to really promote the idea that cops are dying in mass because of they're running into danger towards anti-police sentiment is just not accurate. They're dying in record numbers because cops just aren't getting vaccinated and taking precautions, and they are dying mostly due to the pandemic.